Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a quick look here again at Avalanche, see what's going on. This coin is highly requested. Apologies for the delays here. It's obviously been a few days since we last covered this. Generally speaking, there's no excuse. There's just been a lot of altcoins I've been getting requests for, so trying to get caught up on some of that here. And I did overlook a couple of my important ones here. So let's take a quick look at AVAX. This is one of my favorite coins to trade, honestly. Right now, based on the price action, I don't see a good trade setup just yet, but there actually are things you want to look for to allow that to happen. So we're going to talk about confluence and obviously some potential areas of consideration if the price action were to be, at a specific level, depending on obviously a lot of different favorable conditions. If we take a look here though, we can see locally here, pretty good price action. Honestly, the back end data, I don't know what that looks like just yet. We'll take a look here shortly, but we're right here in that point of control. We're right in that little resistance range, so to speak. So while we haven't broken free yet, it does look like we are trying to break free from that descending type of trend. So we'll talk about that and much more. So if you are new to the channel, I just ask you hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Love to hear your thoughts too. If you want to go ahead and comment, let me know kind of where you're at with your AVAX trades, and more importantly, just support the channel. Help us grow there. I appreciate that. A quick little heads up too on our premium group here. We got nice little trades here from Chainlink, 20%, 29% from Bitcoin. Those are both longs here that were taken. So I'm trying to avoid taking a lot of shorts. There are some shorts, of course, that we have taken. We have a short open with XRP too, for example. But for the moment, Bitcoin looking pretty strong. Unless Bitcoin starts to pull back pretty aggressively, we should see some altcoins continue higher. Just keep in mind though, folks, Bitcoin dominance is really close to this 59% range. If it continues higher, obviously alts are going to have a really bad day. Keep in mind this is the effect, not the cause. So please recognize that Bitcoin dominance, this isn't like moving on its own. This is just a reflection of what's going on in the market. And as Bitcoin dominance goes up, altcoin profit comes away and it goes into Bitcoin. That's generally what's happening. So just be mindful of that. Just if you're ever curious why I allude to that sometimes. Let's take a look at the backend data here too. Recognize here with liquidation, we can see pretty clear that there's a lot more liquidation on the downside than the upside, but we are closer to the upside. So 38 to 39 seems like more of a likely target than I would say 35 to 34 is. However, you don't take trades based on that one thing alone. We haven't technically broken a descending trend line yet, if I recall, or if I saw correctly on the charts. And those are things we want to look for first. What we'll talk about here today is trend reversal, how to identify that too. A lot of folks are asking me if we're back on track with a lot of coins. The short answer is no, but also almost yes. If we take a look here, macro perspective, again, $34, pretty heavy concentration of liquidation. You see high leverage longs right there based on a local low. And then of course the inverse as well, 42 to 43 is a pretty heavy concentration of the upside. Okay, so again, based on what I see with the price action, it doesn't indicate that we're going to go up or down at this point because of that. But just know that we are closer to the lower range, and generally speaking, that does imply more price action or more propensity for the price to continue lower. Only because we haven't broken our descending trend line though, okay? And that's not always the foolproof plan to trade above it, but it certainly helps increase your odds of success. I'll show you more what I mean by that on the charts in a second. Liquidation delta is still fairly low, or high rather, to the downside, basically implying there's less longs than shorts in the market right now, okay? So most people are short biased. And what do? You typically want to trade in the direction of the trend. So I'm not telling you to short this coin per se, but you might have more success considering a short than a long based on the simple fact that the entire market, it feels like we're going to go down, okay? You want to trade in the direction of the trend in most cases. We take a look here at liquidation, this is open interest. We take a look here, we zoom in, we can recognize that there's a lot of resistance here. We're going to have some exit liquidity at 36.70 and 37. This is where people have the most amount of positions open at that point, and that kind of reinforces resistance. So until we break free from $37, I'm not going to feel confident in taking a long position. That's generally how it is. It's like trying to trade into resistance, or trying to knock a door down with your head. Right? You're probably better off using tools instead, right? Again, if you've watched my channel for any time length, you'll know my analogies are terrible. But you get the gist here. The idea here is that you don't do things that are more difficult. You do things that are more easy. That's how trading is supposed to work. You trade in easier directions, not difficult directions. Because again, no one gives a crap about your post on social media as to how awesome you are, or you think you are, when you post a high leverage, high risk trade. Okay. Again, the wrong people are gonna celebrate that, but the people like myself that know better we are the ones that are going to be rolling our eyes and wishing you didn't exist. Anyways, conversation for another day. Let's take a quick look here. I'm going to draw out this trend line here based on the 20-day SMA. Sorry, correction, that's the 50-day SMA. You can see that orange line, and I'll reflect this here with orange to make it simple. And again, when I draw out trend lines, I'm generally trying to make sure that we're above or below those, depending on the direction I'm heading, okay? And again, trend lines are not exact or 100%, but it gives us the overall sense here that we're still establishing lower highs and lower lows, all right? And until that trend changes, we gotta presume it's going to continue. Okay. Now again, there are smaller time frame things we can identify to tell us or indicate that we're going to break that trend, and those could be present. But for right now, let's look at the macro and kind of see where we're at. First of all, we're under the 50 and the 20-day SMA. You generally don't want to take a long into that. At the very least, you want to be above the 20-day SMA. So as the 20-day SMA works its way down here with this descending trend, and we continue to progress upwards, I'm going to feel a lot more confident taking along above that, as well as a local point of control at 30. I'm going to round up and say $37. Again, we saw here open interest, $37, pretty heavy concentration. So getting above that's going to be important. Furthermore, if we look at RSI, we want to be above 50 in the RSI too to have more confidence. So again, not to say that you couldn't take a long here still with success, you'd probably feel less confident. Okay, it'd be higher risk. It's kind of that feeling you get when you turn down a one-way street and go in the wrong direction. I shouldn't be here. I need to turn around. That's what you should feel when you see these things on the chart. Anyways, the daily time frame doesn't look good. There's not much here to tell us that we're in good shape. We got a MACD trying to converge. Okay, great, wonderful, right? So if you're going to take a trade based on one thing that you like and you're sitting there convincing yourself to take a trade, you're doing it wrong. Convince yourself not to take a trade at any given time, and eventually you're going to be in a position where it's like, well, I can't convince myself not to take this trade. I have to take it. And that's going to be the confidence you want. All that being said, let's take a quick look here at the 4-hour time frame and recognize we're still below majority moving averages minus the 20-day SMA. So being above the 20, being above that 0.618 fib level, those are positive confirming factors. We're right there at that local point of control at 3650/37. So in that sense here, we're right in the middle of a resistance range, okay? So again, until you're out of the storm, you shouldn't celebrate, right? That's kind of where we're at there. We're in the eye of the storm. All that being said, we're right here at 50 on the RSI, trying to break bullish, but haven't yet. Money flow index is increasing, stochastics swinging up, MACD converging. Technically, from a momentum standpoint, we're in pretty good shape here. And pending Bitcoin doesn't pull back super hard, it does feel like AVAX is ready to shift its momentum, okay? And speaking of momentum shifts, we can identify that on the hourly time frame a little easier. There's a few things we want to look for. First things first is Ichimoku cloud, and just confirm that we're above the cloud, which we have been. See here, drum roll please. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles above the cloud. That's awesome. Lagging spans free and clear, conversion lines over the baseline. These are all very, very fantastic signs, letting us know we're mostly back on track. Okay, so minus the macro, the 4-hour and the hourly are telling us we're in pretty good shape. That usually factors into a pretty good daily eventually, right? So as I spoke earlier about not a great idea to take a trade into all that resistance, the hourly and the 4-hour tell us we have good enough momentum to have a good fighting chance to get through that, okay? So I know it seems kind of contradictory here to have a smaller time frame confirmation, but a macro invalidation. Oftentimes I will favor on the side of the short-term confluence versus that of a daily, because it takes 4 1-hour time frames to make a good 4-hour candle, and it takes 6 4-hour time frames to make a good daily candle, right? So if we add them all together, we're probably in pretty good shape here. So the likelihood of further upside to me seems higher here with AVAX, and again, I would say that's probably still generally construed as a higher risk trade. But what I want to identify here is that when you establish range bound activity, which we saw here was happening. Okay, now again, it's you get an eye for this after you trade for a while. But generally speaking, this is a range that we were stuck within prior to now, right? So in other words, a lot of other coins are still in this range, and they're still making lower lows. AVAX, on the other hand, is establishing higher highs, right? We're also establishing higher lows. And you can also see this here when the price action broke above, it came back down to retest that horizontal trend line, or basically the support level 36. So again, all this in combination with Bitcoin looking pretty strong and likely to continue further higher, gives me consideration for a long position on AVAX. Okay. Now again, if I consider taking this trade, I'll send out a trade alert to future reference. If you're part of my community, I do send out trade alerts. These are kind of like heads up on trades I'm planning to take before I take them. And then same thing as well, of course, they inevitably become signals or results, right? So kind of a 1-2 step there. So either way you look at it, I'll post a playout chart and a trade alert here for AVAX here shortly, and we'll see if it's a good opportunity for us. But generally speaking, this is usually what I like to look for when a trend is starting to reverse itself. It hasn't fully confirmed yet, but it's mostly there. Okay. All right. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, comment below. You've been hitting the like button on every video. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You are what makes my life a better place. It's awesome to be able to work with you. If you do want to work with me a little bit more directly, cryptocash.tech is a site link down below. Join our Trading Academy community or Signals group. We got a phenomenal group in here. We all learn and grow together. It's been a great experience. So check it out in your own time. Also, heads up, I'm going to post a payout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. This is always available publicly for you. Okay, check that out. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you again soon. Take care.